How's it going, everybody? I have a special video today. I got Graham GSM Matthews with me. If you're not familiar with him, Graham, if you'd like to tell them exactly who you are and what your channel is about.
Of course. Well, primarily I do all wrestling stuff. Graham GSM Matthews is the channel name. Do Q&A videos, talk about random stuff, talking about the world of wrestling, etc., etc. So that's pretty much what I do,
Nice.
Mr. Jason.
Nice. All right, so I got 10 questions. I want to give Graham not 10 questions, 9 questions that I want to get from an outsider's point of view.
Okay.
On mental health and different issues. I also have some special questions for you at the end. So question number 1 is, do you know anyone who struggles with disorders such as OCD, depression, social anxiety disorder, or self-injury or anything like that?
I don't think so. Anyone personally that I know, not that I'm aware of at least.
Nobody at all?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of anyone that I know with OCD. I think maybe to an extent, maybe not full-on OCD, but I think I might know people that have little hints of OCD here and there, but no, I don't think I do, interestingly enough. Again, maybe I do, because I didn't know that you struggled with the things that you do until probably this past January, until I started working in the theater again. When I knew you last year, I didn't think, I didn't know that you struggled with that stuff, so
Oh, okay.
I might, I'm not sure.
Have you ever dealt with any things like depression or social anxiety disorder yourself?
No, personally, I don't think so. Maybe like, not, I don't know if I would say like clinically depressed, maybe at points in my life.
Yeah.
5, 6 years ago, but I think everyone kind of goes through that. Maybe not clinically depressed, like I said, but yeah.
But as you go through your
Yeah, of course.
teen years, like
Yeah,
usually for
14, 15, yeah, high school, yeah, that shit.
What are some of the characteristics that come to mind when you think of somebody who has Tourette syndrome? Like, what's the first thing like that? What comes to your mind when you think of Tourette syndrome?
Just basically what you've talked about with me, and basically what from I've heard and whatever, tics, twitches, stuff like that. Speech impediment for some people, or some of the first thing that comes to mind, I guess. I feel like those are just like not the case with everyone that has Tourette's. Though. I mean, maybe you can shine some light on that, but I feel like that's not the case with everybody. That's just kind of like the stereotypical symptoms of what you would think of with someone with Tourette's.
Right. You sit there and think like the media's got this different vision of the Tourette's just because the only thing in Tourette's that you hear about is the cussing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like that's pretty much what you grow up kind of.
That's what you learn about, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right, it's like if they're cussing this Tourette's, it's funny.
Yeah.
So most people usually don't know about the tics and different other things. Do you think people with Tourette's have a disadvantage, you would think?
In terms of what? Just disadvantage in life? It's hard to say. What was that?
In your eyes. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I forgot what his name was. It's going to bother the shit out of me. I'll probably remember it after we're done filming the video. But I remember there was a guy on American Idol. You don't watch American Idol, do you? You don't seem like
probably years and years ago.
Like when it first started or whatever? Yeah. I think it was 5, 6 years ago. There was a guy in American Idol who had Tourette's. He was a wrestling fan, too. That's why I remember him most. But he had Tourette's, too, and he made it to, like, the top 8. So, I mean, yeah, of course, I mean, I guess you could say something is a disadvantage. But, I mean, to sound cliche or whatever, I mean, I guess anyone can accomplish anything,
Right.
And overcome whatever.
Do you think social networks and the media, like I said, do you think they have do you think people in general have a correct perspective on Tourette syndrome, or do you think it's pretty much just displayed in movies as like, oh, it's cussing? Like, do you think there's a lot more that people aren't aware of?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot more to it than people aren't aware of. That, like you said, I feel like maybe not even intentionally they do it the way they do. I feel like that can be said for a lot of things with the media, that it's just portrayed a certain way, but it's not actually that way. Like I said, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I absolutely do think there's more to it than what meets the eye for most people.
Do you know anyone who ever did self-injuries, like self-injured?
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I do know of a few people that I've been friends with over the years I don't think I have any relatives, but people that I am friends with, that have been friends with, that have dealt with that sort of thing. Maybe not currently, but in the past. Absolutely self-injury, and as you said, depression too. I forgot to mention that. Not myself, but
Hmm.
other people that I've known have definitely suffered through that throughout the years as well.
Do you think the self-injury is just a cry for help, or as woe is me, or do you think they literally are in pain that they just need help? Do you think it's like a cry for help, or do you think that it's just, oh, they're just doing it for attention?
I think it can vary from case to case. I don't feel like with one person with self-injury, I feel like, kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of represents everybody. Like I
Hmm.
don't, I don't feel like it represents the majority. If someone could do it as a cry for help, for attention, but I don't feel like that's the case with everybody. I feel like there are people out there who are suffering in pain, and that's their way of trying to get out of it, which is completely fine. I mean, to each their own. I think there was actually, now that you mentioned, I was watching parts of the new movie that's out right now. What's the movie that we have or did have, the Me Before You movie? The guy that the main
Me before
character,
you?
yeah,
Yeah.
the guy who's like paralyzed or whatever, and he tried to kill himself, and he gives himself 6 months to live before he like undergoes like not amnesia is obviously when you forget you remember. I forgot what it's anesthesia or something like that. I don't know. He
Amnesia?
not amnesia. He undergoes something where he ends up killing himself. Not like killing, like he doesn't kill himself, but he goes to somebody who kills him for him, if that makes sense. Because he's in so much pain. Euthanasia or
Yeah.
euthanasia? Yeah, yeah, that's the right word for it. But yeah. So basically, what they're saying in the movie, I've seen parts of it. He was talking about how he's tried to kill himself before. Not, I mean, he's depressed, but he does it because he legitimately wants to end his life. It's not a cry for help because he's in that much pain. So I feel like it does vary from case to case.
Okay. My next two questions are more on
Side of things.
your side of things.
Nice.
I appreciate you answering all the questions
Of
I gave
course,
you.
of course.
So as a wrestling fan, what's your favorite wrestling feud since you've been watching it?
Oh,
Yeah.
since I've been watching it, that puts me at an extreme disadvantage.
Why?
And well, for two
Okay,
reasons.
not since you've been watching. Since you even if you go back and look at things.
Well, I will say from when I've been watching, because I feel like it's hard to say like my favorite feud was like Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mr. McMahon because I wasn't watching at that time. I wasn't watching like
Didn't
as
miss
you were.
much.
No, I didn't miss much
No.
during the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
That's really weird that you say that. Just because everyone was so like hot on the Attitude
You
Era.
look back at it now,
But you
and
watch
you
the Raws
compare
back,
it,
it's
and
like,
it's good.
yeah, people
But there are
romanticize it.
parts that were just.
Yeah, no, I go back and watch the pay-per-views all the time, and like there's some of them is really good. The good is great, but the bad is awful. Like I feel like people forget about that. But G plug here too. When we do my Q&A video, a lot of people asked what your background is with wrestling and whatnot. So I can't wait to get your thoughts and background on that. Since you started watching, since it varies very much different for me because I've only started watching since 2008. But for me, my favorite feud since I started watching 8 years ago. It's different from my favorite match, which I might mention, but Randy Orton and Christian had a great feud five years ago, 2011, over on the SmackDown side of things, when SmackDown was still relevant up until like now. But great feud over the World Heavyweight Championship. I would even say currently Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have had a really good feud over the past couple of years, so those are among my favorites.
Okay, what's your favorite WrestleMania match and why?
Ooh, WrestleMania match.
Mm-hmm.
I counted down earlier this year, leading up to WrestleMania 32. I did this whole article series of my top 31 WrestleMania matches ever, and even including before I started watching. So a lot of great matches on the list. I believe number one, actually not even I believe, I know for a fact number one was undoubtedly Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. It's going to be for a lot of people. I'm sure I'm not the only one. One of, if not the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
Yeah.
Gotta go with that one.
That was great live.
Amazing match.
All right. Well, if you have any questions, people, please, send them in for myself and or Graham. I'll definitely maybe hopefully have them back for another session or two. I appreciate you being here.
Jason, as always, thank you for having me. Of course.
You guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and hope you're all well.